Let me share my story with you. All the things
I will be discussing about the crimes that were committed against me as a Chicago police officer. But most important, I will commend the City of Chicago Mayor Lightfoot, and her transparencies. I will be speaking upon the injustice that was placed upon me while I was working as a Chicago police officer. The injustice against me were fraud, self-concealment, conspiracy, collusion. My incident is also similar to Trayvon Martin and Laquan McDonald. However, they died and they were killed. However, I survived, and I'm here to tell my story.
Damn, preaching the words of Assalamu alaikum, and I mentioned both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Damn, I said I would go say that. Peace be upon them both. But you know what? You're looking at the Underground Railroad. This is a special edition. But let me quit doing what I'm doing. You know what? Please tell somebody to tune in, okay? Share this, you know, all this, okay? Because we have a police officer, and you know what, that was dismissed for doing the right thing. But you know what? I mean, I'm trying to tell his story. I'm going to let him tell his own story. And you know what, brother? I want to thank you. And this is a follow-up of the show that we did. And you'll be able to tell us about the progress. And he still needs help from lawyers. All right, brother. So
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Please give us a quick synopsis. I'm not quick of follow-up.
Well,
introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Vince Davis. This is an update from the prior show that I had with your Underground Railroad. There are some updates on my wrongful discharge from the police department, which started from the police department as well as the procurement department of City of Chicago. The procurement department created a fraudulent contract with the forged signature of Mayor Daley, and what I'm going to explain to you, which is going to shock the conscience of this my whole ordeal. However, you know, I've taken a class, a corporate law class, and I learned about fiduciary duty, and I strongly believe that the citizens of Chicago have a vested interest in fiduciary duty. They're under a fiduciary duty, not under a fiduciary duty. Well, there's a fiduciary duty that the city must, a duty of loyalty, obedience, disclosure, and adverse that should be given to the citizens of Chicago, because over $1 million was stolen using federal dollars and taxpayers' dollars. And I'm going to give you an update on what's happening in terms of the employees that were recently dismissed, change commissioners in the Human Resource Department, Procurement Department, and I'm just going to give you an update in terms of what happened, what recently happened.
And let me just tell everybody, this is a live television show, and you know what? You get the opportunity to call up, okay? Whether you support the police or you don't support the police or whatever, but you get the opportunity, okay? And you know, the first thing I like to ask you, brother, I'm going to this, you know what? It's funny, as you get older, you can't remember things, so I'm going to have to say, this is question 1 and question 7. Okay. So, brother, this is like question 1 that I like to ask you. What happened when fraud is committed in the administration of the court and circuit court? What happens? Question 1.
Okay, Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, there's a rule that any fraud that's committed in any court, administrative court or any court, the judgment, the orders are void. And that's what happened to me. When I went in front of the police board, the police union didn't represent me, and because they said it was an off-duty incident. However, subsequently I was discharged. And
excuse me for one. While he's talking, could you bring up the number one document that he won't show? Go ahead, brother.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Again, as I said, any fraud upon a court, any judgment, any order is void. And there's no statute of limitation on that. And but the fact of the matter is that when they submitted this fraudulent company documentation and witnesses, the company never had a contract with the city of Chicago. The contract had a forged signature of Mayor Daley. The contract had forged documents from the federal government, which using seals. If you and I, if I or Cliff, if we decide to create a fraudulent certification under the Department of Health and Human Service, they're going to immediately lock us up because that's wrongfully using government seals.
Okay. Now we are on question 2. Told you, man, I got to try to remember, and we need y'all to bring up document 2. Okay. And the next thing is I would like to know is how did you find out that fraud was involved? Okay, through this department. How did you find out?
Wow, that's a good start. One of my
They got a document back there with the fraud. Okay.
Yeah. What had happened was I contacted late Senator Paul Simon and I contacted late Alderman Virgil Jones, and we started to submit a freedom of information request, and learning that a contract was in the procurement department, they mailed it to Virgil Jones and myself. So what we did was we contacted the Department of Health and Human Service, and the Department of Health and Human Service sent a letter to Senator Simon and also myself and Virgil Jones, stating that this company was never certified under the Department of Health and Human Services.
They were never certified.
It was never certified. It was a bogus company, and I went to several individuals that in the political arena, and public officials, and no one would believe me. And then when the government got involved, it seemed that they didn't believe me neither. But they did send the letters out stating that this company was a fraud and fictitious company.
Okay. Now, you also sent a letter to ex-Senator Paul Simon and President Obama, which he was not the president then, right?
Yes, I sure did. Yeah, I sent a letter, to Senator Obama and one of his staff members, I think Miss Mason.
Okay. Now, this is a live show, so you know what? We're going to take a caller. And when I say beat the drums, that means that you could communicate. They used to beat the drums in Africa to communicate. Okay, so I'm going to say beat the drums, and you can communicate with us, caller, please.
Let's go.
We cannot hear you. Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. My name is Dr. Dixon, and my question to Vince Davis is, how did you know that the facility that they sent you to was a bogus facility?
I found out through Alderman Jones, and I guess he did his research, and what had happened was we learned that the company never existed because we contacted the state of Illinois and found out, and got a detailed report and found out this company was never a corporation. Okay, that's number one. Mm-hmm. And then we found some information from the federal government that this company didn't have a contract and had fraud certification, and I found out that the company didn't have a contract, was through Mayor Lightfoot, and I commend her. What had happened was her administration sent me a letter stating that all contracts are recorded in the clerk's office and it's filed in the clerk's office. So I contacted the clerk's office, and sure enough, there was nothing in their journal proceeding. And then I sent 2 requests to the procurement department, and in one of those letters I said that you're bound by law, because you can't be charged for official misconduct. And they sent me a letter saying that there was not a contract.
And then I ask you a question. Procurement, what does it mean anyway?
Procurement.
Then we get to
The procurement department. This is where all the contracts are approved through the city. It goes through procurement department. And there's several steps that it have to go. Many steps it has to go through, along with signature of the law department, the mayor's signature.
Okay.
And the procurement administrators. And finding out that this contract was bogus.
You had the document. The document is back there. That was question 2, I believe, for those that are following. I'm trying to keep tally too. So maybe you could show that document to show that place was bogus. Okay, but there's another document, and they're not showing that. I don't know why, but we have another. You want to continue on, or you want to take the telephone call?
Oh, you can hit the telephone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what, Carla? Go ahead and beat the drums. Communicate with us. Talk to us, please.
Yeah, my name is Ted, and I wanted to know, once this fraud was exposed with this company, did the FOP, or did you go to the FOP to see if they would assist you in your efforts to be made whole?
Yes, I know there was a collective bargaining agreement that year. And in that collective bargaining agreement, there was nothing about this company being allowed to give physicals to police officers, okay? And I asked the FOP to represent me. They said they would not represent me because it was an off-duty incident. However, I was injured on duty and from an incident while working in my official capacity, and I went down to the medical section to get an extension on medical leave. I was not ordered. I went down there voluntarily. And then when I refused to go back to work, they said, we're going to give you a mandatory physical. I said, fine. I took the mandatory physical, and it was 1 urine sample that was put in the refrigerator. Second urine sample stayed on the counter. Thereafter, it was transported by a police officer to this particular company, Toxex Lab. Mm-hmm. And I gave all that information to the union. The union said that they would not represent me. I think at the time it was Thomas.
Yeah, you're talking about the FOP and Chicago Police
yes.
Department.
And they sent me a letter, and this letter states that it's from Tom Plinus. He was a general counsel at the time. He said, I told you on at least 3 prior occasions, there's nothing in our collective bargaining agreement between the FOP and the city of Chicago which requires any certification laboratory which does business with the city of Chicago. Okay. However, I had the fraudulent contract. The contract stated that you have to be certified by the Department of Health and Human Services. So I started doing my investigation. I said, wow. So I received another letter from, someone gave me a letter that was wrote from past Commander Houghton, Hubert Houghton. In this letter, Hubert Houghton said that this company did not meet the requirements to test police officers. They didn't know I had that letter. Mm-hmm. And I gave it to them. They said, well, we're not going to represent you because this is an off-duty incident. But however, they represent non-black FOP, but they wouldn't represent me. I had been on the job for about 3 years, so when I was young, I didn't know too much.
My question is to you, you know what, we're going to come to you, Carl. My question is to you. You see, you wrote President Obama.
Oh, yes.
What we should be putting that, I think we have the document back there, but you know what? And what was his response?
Well,
he wasn't the president then.
No, the response was by one of his assistants, and Commander, I think his name was Commander Bradford of Police Personnel.
Okay.
And he stated that
Okay.
that in a letter to Senator Obama that the company did in fact had a contract. So this is a sense. To me, this is a version of justice. They were lying. So if you send a letter, a fraudulent letter, untrue to a senator, stating that this company was certified,
okay,
and they were not. I mean, something should have been done back then because it should have been an immediate investigation.
Okay, we have another telephone caller. Caller, go ahead and beat the drums. Communicate with us. Talk to us.
Okay, I had to call back in because they keep disconnecting me every time I call in.
Oh, we getting that many telephone calls. Oh, good. I'm sorry that happened to you, though.
That's okay. It sounds to me like he's done his due diligence. He's got all the documentation. What do you think the cover-up and the hold-up is? Because you've got the names of all these individuals that were aware of this situation, and yet they failed to do anything about it.
So what's your response?
Well, I mean, I'm going to change this all the way around. I think there should be two-term limits. Two-term limits. That's what I think.
Got a lot of stuff. Get the other caller. When you want me to get back to the questions, let me know.
And put real people in those offices that are sincere, because these individuals, they call themselves drum majors. A drum major. If you're gonna be a drum major, you have to work with kindness and and love, and helping people. These individuals they surrounded by their own little circle, and they're not helping the citizens of Chicago.
Now, you know what, you don't mind me divulging, you sent a letter to Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's office, and you say you did get a response, right?
I got a response by her administration, and and thereafter I started receiving phone calls from procurement department as well as others.
More calls. We got other calls. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead and beat the drum. Communicate with us. Talk to us. Talk to us.
Hello?
Yes, talk to us. Thank you.
Yeah, I was calling in regarding the conversation you guys were having there about the way the case was handled with Mr. Davis there.
Yes.
Yes, sir. There was quite an unusual way they had of doing things.
He got cut off. And
Yeah, I got cut off again.
yeah, I don't understand. I don't get it. But go ahead with your question. Call back, okay? When you want to get back to the questions, let me know, okay? But go ahead, caller, communicate with us. Go ahead, communicate with us. Okay. So you know what, question 3. And you know what, I can't keep up no more. That's why I'm calling them out like this, okay? When you learned about the laboratory and the owner did not exist, it was fraudulent place that took your specimens, what was your response and how did you learn about it?
They took one specimen, and again, as I said, it was transported by the police officer.
If I'm going ahead, please let me know. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I've learned through the newspaper, this particular company was charged of theft. They were working under the auspice of the Department of Children and Family Services, and they were displacing families. Mm-hmm. That's how I learned. But the Police and Fire Commission put in a resolution to have me reinstated. And when they had me reinstated, they were trying to get me reinstated. But one of the particular individuals in the committee withheld it for going on the floor for a resolution. But I was reinstated back on the job because when I was discharged, I did obtain an attorney, and there was an administrative review in the Circuit Court of Cook County. Judge O'Brien reversed the
Who was he? Judge
O'Brien. He was a judge, a circuit court judge. He reversed the decision and remanded back with instructions to reinstate me as a police because I didn't have a hearing within 30 days. I was charged. I was administratively charged in May, but they didn't have a hearing within, I think, 3 months, I believe, because they didn't know whether they was going to charge me now. So they did violate their own rules. So I was reinstated based upon that. So the city filed an appeal to the appellate court. And the appellate court overturned the lower court's decision because my attorney did not follow the civil procedure rules. When you don't put a proper defendant on your complaint, it automatically gets thrown out. So I don't know if that was done intentionally, but I think that he should have did an amendment or something and refile all over again, but he did.
My question to you is, I want to go back to the beginning right quick. Your spiral started and you started to become ostracized when you turned in your commander's, your police commander's son. Is that when it started? In your opinion?
Yes, I was a good worker and working out of the 8th district, and what had happened was there was an armed robbery that happened at Alger Motel and also 7-Eleven. And what had happened was a foot chase, took place, and I apprehended the subjects, one subject, and he brought it back to the station, and he started, telling on, who else was involved. And one of those offenders was the son of Commander Crowley in Barman Arson.
Of what district?
8th district.
Okay, go ahead.
And then thereafter, I was transferred from that district to the 2nd district.
Okay, so that's when your spiral started, when you arrested your commander's son in District 8 in Chicago.
Yes.
And you had good evaluations and all that.
I was in the 90s. He was subsequently, he received 5 years in the Illinois Department of Correction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your commander, in your opinion, retaliated by saying, you know what, we're going to give you a urine.
I can't say that. I can't say
possibility. Okay.
Yeah, I can't really say
it's
that.
It's an allegation. Okay.
Yeah, I can't include that into the facts.
You can't include it. Okay. It's an allegation. But you know what? We have another telephone caller. Then we'll come to the next question. Okay. Go ahead, caller. Communicate with us, please. Your input is needed.
Hello.
Go ahead. Talk.
Yes, I strongly agree with what he was just saying, that the department has a way of retaliation that it's not necessarily on paper, but they do have a way of making phone calls of retaliation when they decide that they want to retaliate. Myself, I know, for being a former officer myself, I know they have ways that to retaliate.
Could you want to comment on that?
But again, I can't include that into the facts in terms of, only thing I can include what had happened to me, because I can't say that,
it's an allegation. Yeah,
allegation. And but during that time, the company that was testing police officers was called Smith and Klein and Beecham, and I had family members on the job, and they said, "Well, who tested you, Vince?" I said, Tax Laboratory. He said, "What?" He said, "We were tested by Smith, Klein, and Beecham." And I informed him that my specimen stayed on the counter, not even secured. And also I told him that a police officer transported my sample to the company that we were talking about. And he said, "Vince, that don't even sound right." He said the company that they were using back then was called Smith, Klein, and Beecham.
And they were not, and the company that they sent your urine specimen to, they weren't even licensed. They were not even, according to what you're saying, and the documented proof that you have that they were not licensed, and they was not supposed to be doing that.
Right.
That's a lawsuit in itself, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. But again, I'm afraid of the court system, man. I mean, I think the city should under false claims, I think the city should give me an administrative hearing under false claims, and I think there's their responsibilities to adhere to their own rules, and the Human Resource Commissioner, her name was Sue Chu. I contacted her. I called, sent her countless of emails, and I contacted her, and I found out subsequently that she was walked out of her office. And the first thing came to my mind was that she was obstructing justice. Okay. And she was replaced by a guy by the name of I think Owens, Chris Owens, I believe.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Your organization that you belong to, they're ensuring and teaching young kids so they don't have to go through something like this. But can they reach out for you? Are you looking for your organization? Are you looking for lawyers? Are you looking for paralegals? Are you looking for people to help you with your particular case?
Yes. Well, I would love. Yeah.
Because let me say this real quick to some people. He's looking for lawyers and paralegals to assist him, but he has done the work. He has all of the documentation, so you wouldn't have to jump no hurdles already. So, but I'm speaking for you. But go ahead.
Well, I would love to, to have Attorney Taylor Flint. He's the individual attorney that worked on the Burge case, and
Laquan McDonald too.
And yes, I would love to have him. But I'm just waiting to see what the procurement department is going to do. They reached out to me. The new procurement officer, his name, general counsel, his name is Mitchell Kroc. And he contacted me, and he said that he's connecting the dots. But
you have contacted attorney Taylor Flint that worked on the Laquan McDonald case and worked on the Burgess. You've contacted him and other lawyers, but you need help. You need assistance.
Yes, I need assistance because fighting the city by myself, it's like climbing the highest mountain in the world.
Okay. You know what? This is question 4. The last conversation you mentioned there was fraud, and they mailed you, put something in the U.S. mail for you?
Well, yeah, as I mentioned.
Question 4.
Yeah, I did mention that, and I can respond back on that again. They did send that fraudulent contract through the U.S. mail, and again they sent it to Virgil Jones and myself. Oh, that's the indictment of Toxtex Anita Maha, the owner of that laboratory. They were indicted, and subsequently she received. She was convicted of a Class 4 felony, and I tried to contact the state's attorney's office at the time, and they were dodging me,